So we're going to start off on the software, because that's usually where it all starts off with on the Applique. What's going on?
Just making sure we're recording.
Yeah, I made sure I was recording this time.
Thank you.
Okay, so if at any point I go a little bit too fast for anybody, let me know. Pop in a question, and I'll see if I can get it answered. So to start off, we're just going to bring in some basic text. We're going to do the Arial, and we're going to make it like a 3-inch tall text. So where we're doing this at is on a new page. We're going to go into Artwork, go to Text, and we're going to select the type of text that we want. We're just going to do the Arial black, and we're going to set our height for our text to 3 inches. And we're just going to type in one letter. We're going to do a C, but we want it capital. There we go. It still looks a little small. We're going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. And we'll bring in another layer too. And tell you what, we'll start over. We'll do a CD for Coldesi. Oops. There you go.
You hold them the whole time? Oh. Okay.
Maybe 4 inches tall. Okay. So now that we have our vector, or this vector could also be one that you sent from your cutter, or a design or vector that you brought in from your cutter. The important part is when we have it selected here, that in our object manager, how do I hide this? Okay. Over here in our object manager, it's all in one vector. We go up to layout and we can see how big this is. So make sure that the outside perimeter of this is the same as what your vector is inside of your program. Once you have that, we go into the embroidery. We're going to choose our path. And the first thing that we need to do is an outline stitch. So we're going to do a path with running stitch. Go up here to Autocomplete. Select this C and press enter. You notice over here it popped up with a running stitch. I'm going to go ahead and change the color of that so you can see it a little bit better. And then we'll go back into path with running stitch, Autocomplete. Select the D and press enter. That all making sense so far? Okay, so you can see over here. Can you guys see my screen? Yes? No? Okay. Just kind of worried there for a second. Hoping everything made sense so far. Okay. So we have our vectors over here, or our stitches over here. There's too many things on my screen. So we're going to go to the embroidery. Now that we have this selected, make sure that everything's good. It all looks good. So now that we have our running stitch, now we need to do what's called the tack down stitch. And for that, we're pretty much going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go back into embroidery. First, I'm going to change the color to this bright blue color. I'm going to do path with running stitch. But before we go any further, I'm going to change my stitch length from 5 millimeters down to about 2, because we want a lot finer detail with this than we do with our layout, with our bordering stitch. So we're going to go to Autocomplete, just like the other one. Select this one and press Enter. And if you notice, if I turn off the vectors, you can see how they're a little bit brighter so you can actually see it. See how it's a lot finer line than it is than the other one? That's what we're looking for. So to do the D, we're going to go to path with running stitch, make sure it's still set at 2, Autocomplete, and turn our vectors back on, that way we have something to select, and press Enter. Now that we have that, we're going to select over in our Object Manager. Somebody just asked what version of software I'm working with. Right now I'm working on 15, but the same applies on 17. On 17, you may need to change your, over down in your Object Inspector, your stitch length over here, or it should be up here at top. But other than that, it's everything that I'm going to be doing is pretty universal on both of them. Okay, so now that we have this second path selected, and this remember, this is our tack down stitch, we're going to zoom in on this C, and we're going to bring these nodes in so that they are actually on the inside of that vector. And it doesn't really matter how much it is, because we're going to go back over this. We just want to make sure that we have enough that it actually grabs hold of the twill or applique or whatever process or whichever infill material you're using. Just go around, bring it in.
This stuff is sticky, and not only is it sticky, but it gets static. And the static electricity will.
Now that we have that one done, we'll go down to this next section over here in the D. We'll open it up so we can select them individually. We'll do the exact same thing on that one. We'll just bring in these points a little bit. That way when it sews, we have that tack down stitch. And remember, this is all going to be covered up with the actual border stitch or the part that goes around it when it's done, so long as it actually covers it up. And we'll go over that when we get there. Oh, these ones are a little bit too far up. Now I'll go to the inside of the D and bring those in. Okay. Any questions so far? Let's fix this one down here. Somebody asked if this was a class on how to digitize for Applique or how to actually do it. After I finish doing the digitizing, I'm going to go to the machine and actually run it on the machine. That way, because both of these are kind of hand in hand. And we're almost done with the digitizing of it, so. But once we have our tack down stitch, we'll go up to here, and instead of using the path with running stitch, we'll choose path with zigzag. We'll do the autocomplete. So we have a question in here. A lot of you guys purchased the appliques, and you wanted to know how to actually use it once you had the file you purchased. Are you buying the pre-done applique file, already digitized? Okay, and does that have the vector with it, or is it?
Don't worry. No.
Okay, so it already has you cut out everything? I'm a little confused, I guess. Okay. And it has your sew file too? Okay, so that's actually pretty much, I'm just going to create the DST file in this. She asked so it comes with the applique already and the DST file. So all I'm doing is I'm creating the DST part of it, and then I'll show you how to run it on the machine once I'm done. It's pretty simple. That's why I figured I'd just show you both, especially on something simple like this where it's text. I understand that the more complicated things like the designs or something along those lines, most of you who are already buying it, that's probably your best route to go. But if you're just doing simple text like this here, then that's this. Trying to show you that it's really easy, and it is pretty easy. So anyway, back to what we were doing. We'll go to auto. Okay, let's just start all over again. Let's get out of everything. So we're going to go to embroidery. Now we need to do the actual outline and the proper part of it, the part that you actually see on top. So we're going to go to embroidery, hotfix, embroidery, path with zigzag. And we're going to want to set our density on this to 5.5. And our width on this, I'm going to want it to be, I believe, we'll go with an 8. Then we select autocomplete, select the C, press enter, and oh my gosh, what is it doing? Change that back to a 5. So I guess it's supposed to be a 5 for this one. Sorry for that. So we'll do the D now. We'll go to zigzag path. We'll change this, the width of the stitch back to 5. Autocomplete. Select the D and press enter. And if you can see,
You take this. This is for just when you're storing.
so right here on this,
Brush more, make another transfer. And this
on the
right
D,
here, reuse
this is pretty close right here to the outside of that, so we'll just bring that in a little bit.
So you don't make 20 shirts, you only have to make or cut one, or however many. You're welcome.
Okay. So that is everything on that. Hey, Brandon, can you give me a flash drive?
Like one?
Yes.
From?
I just need a flash drive. And if you notice on this, see how I have all of the, we'll turn off our vectors. We have all of these in a different color, so or not yet. Okay. So if you're digitizing yourself, you're going to want all of these sections. So your outline, you want those in one color. Your running stitch, you want those in one color. And then your actual top stitch, you're going to want that in a different color. And if it's a file that you bought, it's going to be done that way. And now we are ready to, we'll set our start and end point. Thank you. Center it up, save it. Insert our flash drive. Export our file.
Hey, I'll do that right now. Hey, I'm gonna play with the changes.
And now we're ready to take it to the machine and do the machine side of it. Any questions so far on the software? Okay, I guess we'll move on now. Bring the camera in a little bit closer, because we're going to need to see what I'm doing on the control panel. Okay, so on my machine, I'm going to exit out of embroidery mode, insert my flash drive, load the design. Then go and select it. Okay, now that I have it loaded, let me step across the camera real quick. Put that in there. Okay. So now's the part where this is where it becomes exactly the same as if you already had bought the file. So when we go to set our colors, remember how we had 3 colors in there? So we're just going to we're going to do this all in, we have this blue back here. We'll do this in this blue, which is number 2. So I'll just press 2 3 times and then press enter. And now that we have that, the button that we're going to want to press is it's the 2 needles with the left and right arrow and then the up and down arrow, or the middle button up in the second row up, middle button. And see how it changed. I don't know if you can really actually see this. But see how it changed that to blue A? We'll press it again so that that's red. And what that's going to do is that's going to make sure that every single time it does a color change, it's going to stop in between each color change. So it's going to do the outline, we're going to lay down the applique, and it's going to do the tack down stitch, and then it's going to do it's going to stop, and then we hit start again, and then it's going to continue on and do the rest of it. So now we need to set our center point. So we go to number 1. Go to home, set start. Then do our contour range check. Making sure that it fits, but this is a pretty big hoop, so we know it's going to fit. Okay, so it fit. Somebody has a question? Okay, so somebody had a question again about the button for the stop. Right here on your control panel, it's from the bottom on the blue buttons, second one up in the middle. It's going to change the second in your control panel. It's going to change the second panel, the second box over. It's going to change it to blue, and then it's going to change it to red. And when it's on red, it's going to stop in between each color. And then whenever you're done, make sure you press it again, and it's going to turn back to yellow, and then you're ready to go for everything else. We have another question. Somebody here has, you have the pre-cut pieces, and how do you program to do the machine placement, tack down, and the satin? And is that possible? It is possible. When you're doing that, it's best to, you're going to have to measure the letters and then recreate them in the software using the vector part. I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. So I'll open up a new one real quick. So what you're going to have to do for that is in your artwork tab, going to Bezier, and what this is going to do is it's going to drop points down. Unfortunately, there's no real easy way to do it. I wish there was, but there's not. That is the very unfortunate part about buying the pre-cut letters. It is possible. What you can also do with those pre-cut shapes is scan them into your computer using a scanner. And after you do that, bring in that scan and open it as an image. So say this was it. And with the image select, we'll just convert it to a vector, filter it, vectorize it, hit return. And now that we have this shape, we can select it. And then up here in our layout, make sure that we set the width or the height. Make sure that those are the same as the actual cutout that you bought. Does that make sense for those that already bought the pre-cut letters? Okay. It's a little bit way around it, but it is a way to do it. And then you do the same process that I did for this part. You do the outline, then the tack down, and then the border around it. Okay. So. We are going to run this. I'm going to hit start. It did the wrong color. So we'll set it to I forgot about that. When you have it set to this mode, you actually have to set the machine to that color, and then it'll run it. We'll back up a little bit. And we'll restart it.
Perfect. I don't know. Pretty well made. Okay, so I feel good. I feel good. And,
So see how it stopped? That's what we want. So now I'm going to get my applique, which has fallen down. And I'm just using one big sheet. Okay. I'll show you guys what I just sewed here in a second. Somebody asked, they don't understand what the last comment was. Which one was that one? Oh, okay. When you have it set to the red manual mode, you have to actually change the color before it starts to sew. I forgot about that part. I'm used to the multi-head, which does it automatically for you. So when you have it set up for the manual color change mode, you physically have to enter the number that you want it to sew on each time. Does that make sense now? Okay. So I'm going to move the camera closer, turn on the light, see if you can see this. That's not helping. You can't really see the CD on here, but it's there. Trust me. So what you would do normally if you had pre-cut letters is you would lay those out, but I unfortunately did not have the cutter hooked up to this computer, so I could not do that. So I'm going to now lay this out. We're going to hit start again. Now it's going to do that tack down. That is correct. So the question was, so you don't actually program the needles if you start it. That is correct. So it's I think I confused everybody with that one. We need that in order for it to stop. So right now that it's, normally you would just hit start again, but because I don't have pre-cut letters, I'm going to show you another, not really good way to do it, but this is another way to do it. So what I'm going to do is, now that I have it tacked down, I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm just going to cut out around the letters real quick. And this is not the recommended way to do it because it takes forever to do, but it is a way to do it. Clean it up just a little bit. Oh, hey, look. So apparently they actually make scissors for this. Crazy. And these are sold at Coleman & Company. What are these called, Mark?
Applique scissors.
So apparently they make these things called applique scissors that work really great at cutting applique while it's on your garment.
It's got that little, it's like fat on the bottom there, so you can get underneath it.
If I would have known these, I would have been done by now.
You would have saved the day.
Say the day. It wouldn't have looked as bad as the rest of it did.
It's going to come out great.
It's going to come out great, yeah. So we'll get the hole started on that. Everybody kind of see what I'm doing? So these scissors, they are a lifesaver. I don't know how good this is going to look. It's going to look horrible. Nah. Should be good enough for what we're doing. So we got it kind of close, but remember how that inside line is actually in closer. So that border that we do is going to cover that up. I'll put it on the machine. Bring you guys in. And any questions on what I just did? Okay. So we have a question of, is there a video on how to cut out letters for applique or using the, I'm assuming you're talking about using something like a Tack cutter, a plotter, or something like that. We do have another video on that. I don't have one hooked up to this computer, so I could not show you. But once you'll export the vector from the program, and then you can open it up in the software. And I know we have a video on that, and I can send you that link if you need me to. And so we have a question on if I'm holding the scissors upside down. I was not. These scissors are actually designed. This right here, this big fat edge on it, is designed so that you run it along with the garment and it doesn't cut into it. So that way it'll pull it up and then you cut. I am sorry, somebody's just mentioned that they thought we were going to be covering that today. I thought we were too, but I'm not in the webinar room right now, and the computer that I'm doing this on doesn't have the ability to hook up to that computer, the GraphTech plotter. So, but I will send you that video. I'll look up the information and I'll get that video off to you. Okay? So we have it cut out, and we'll hit start. And it's going to do its running stitch around it. You see how it's covering it up? So is there any questions so far about anything else? I know we have a little bit of confusion on that color change or how to set that up. Is there any questions on the software that I can cover while this is running? No questions? Is it all making sense to everybody? And if you have, like, if you want to, once we get this video edited or uploaded, you'll have access to this video online. So it's not like this is one and you're done. Like all of our webinars, they're always available afterwards. So we have a question on how to set the offset. There is a way to do that. I'll show you guys how to do that once this is done. Can't really do it while it's sewing. So. All done. So we have a couple of issues on it. Can't really see it, but there's some trims right there that are bad. Just go ahead and trim those. And that was my fault for not programming those in there. And there we go. So even though, remember how when I was cutting it, it looked all jagged and didn't look very good? That's why we do that offset. So now these look just about as good as you can get for the method that I did it in.
Oh no, I don't think that.
Okay, so for the offset, where was it? It was in the okay. Had to remember where it was at. So after you set your start point and do your trace, what you do is you press we press this green button down at the bottom here. You can't really see what's on the screen, but inside of there, there's an offset position set. So it's number 4. So we'll go down to that. And then it's going to pop up with the screen that says move to offset, press enter key. So what we'll do, I know I don't have anything in the hoop, but it's pretty much the same. We'll move it out to that position and hit enter. So now, when I hit start, notice how it's going to move back to the start position and then begin sewing. Does that answer the question about the offset? It's pretty easy. It's the key is that just that button. Go in there, go to the so it's the bottom right hand green button. Once you press that, it'll be the 4th option. Enter there, move it to where you want the offset to be, and then press enter, and then that's when you start. Make sure that you set your offset after you do your trace. Always do your trace and set your start point first, and after that, that's when you want to actually do the offset. So, any questions so far? That's pretty much everything for applique, I think. We'll go around the camera. No more questions? I will be sending the one that asked for the information on how to do it on the machine. I'll send that off to you. I finished 15 minutes early. Is this supposed to go till 3 o'clock? Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and finish the webinar, unless anybody has any questions about it so far. Okay, well, I guess there's no more questions, so we're going to go ahead and end it there. And look, if you have any further questions about this, don't go to support.coldesi.com, and we can get with you on that. And we should have this up in the next couple of days on the webinars if you have anything to go over that, and I will send the information off to those that require it. Other than that, I hope you all have a good day and keep on sewing.